When 2001: A Space Odyssey arrived in 1968, it didn't just redefine science fiction, it changed what cinema believed was possible. No explosions, no exposition, just silence, scale, and ideas that still feel futuristic today. Audiences remember HAL 9000, the hypnotic visuals, and classic music drifting through space, all driven by Stanley Kubrick's obsession with perfection. But behind that seamless experience was chaos. There was no traditional script, early audiences were confused, and the film nearly collapsed under its own ambition. So today, let's dive into 20 secrets hidden for decades behind 2001: A Space Odyssey. Number 1. The movie was still being edited after its premiere. Kubrick continued cutting scenes even after the film had already premiered publicly. Entire sequences were removed once he observed audience reactions, including explanatory dialogue that clarified the story.
What are you talking about, Hal?
But ultimately reduced its mystery, ambiguity, and haunting, open-ended impact. More than 19 minutes were removed after the movie had already debuted publicly. The result was a bolder, stranger, more haunting film, one that refused to explain itself and instead demanded patience, interpretation, and discomfort from its audience. With every cut, Kubrick removed fixed interpretations, and in doing so, he transformed 2001 from a science fiction story into a cinematic riddle that would haunt viewers for decades. And with those cuts, something else disappeared along with the footage. Number 2. Kubrick refused to explain the ending, even to the cast. Actors repeatedly asked Kubrick what the star child in the film's final act truly meant. He consistently refused to give answers, believing personal interpretation mattered more than clear explanation. Decades later, in a 1980 interview that remained obscure until being rediscovered in 2018, Kubrick finally revealed his vision. Godlike beings of pure energy and intelligence place the astronaut in a human zoo, where he is transformed into a Superman. Yet, even with this explanation, the film's intentional ambiguity endures, allowing each viewer to discover their own meaning. That mystery was deliberate, and it started from the very beginning. Number 3. There was no traditional script. Instead of relying on a finished screenplay, Kubrick worked from a loose scenario co-written with author Arthur C. Clarke. Dialogue was deliberately kept minimal, while many scenes were meticulously planned visually through detailed storyboards, imagery, and pacing rather than traditional scripted dialogue. And that approach terrified the studio. Number 4. MGM had no idea what the final movie would be. Executives approved the project without fully understanding what Kubrick was actually creating behind the scenes. When early cuts were screened, studio executives grew increasingly anxious, fearing the film was too abstract, too slow, and too unconventional to market effectively to mainstream audiences, raising serious concerns about its commercial viability before release. Kubrick wasn't just telling a story, he was inventing the tools needed to tell it. Number 5. Most of the visual effects had to be invented. No computers and no CGI were used at any stage of production. Instead, Kubrick's team invented entirely new photographic techniques from the ground up, most famously slit scan photography. This painstaking process produced the hypnotic Stargate sequence, pushing practical visual effects far beyond anything audiences had seen before. These newly invented techniques didn't just impress Hollywood, they were so convincing that people working on real space travel took notice. Number 6. NASA quietly took an interest to the film. Because the space travel appeared so convincing, real aerospace engineers reportedly took notice of the film's techniques. The massive rotating space station was especially praised for accurately visualizing artificial gravity through centrifugal force, closely matching real scientific theories, and making the film feel decades ahead of contemporary spaceflight portrayals. Accuracy mattered, sometimes to an extreme. Number 7. Kubrick demanded scientific precision. Kubrick consulted with scientists throughout production to ensure authenticity in every detail. The sound design strictly followed real physics. Explosions in space were silent, and all movement adhered to zero-gravity principles. While these choices occasionally confused audiences, they added an unprecedented level of realism, making the depiction of space travel scientifically accurate and immersive. That realism extended to the most iconic villain. Number 8. HAL 9000 was intentionally calm, not evil. Kubrick designed HAL's voice to be calm and reassuring, deliberately avoiding any sense of overt threat. The true horror emerges from the contrast between HAL's soothing tone and the character's cold, calculated betrayal of the crew, creating a tension that is far more unsettling than traditional aggressive or frightening behavior. This choice was intentional and deeply psychological. That calmness makes HAL's actions feel disturbingly logical instead of monstrous. As HAL begins making decisions that endanger human life, the audience is forced to confront a chilling idea. The machine isn't acting out of hatred or madness, but out of obedience to its programming. From HAL's perspective, he is solving a problem, not committing a crime. The result is a villain who feels timeless, unnervingly modern, and far more unsettling than any machine driven by rage. And the voice casting almost went very differently. Number 9. HAL's voice actor was chosen late. Douglas Rain was ultimately cast as HAL after Kubrick dismissed several actors delivering more overtly dramatic performances.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Rain's deliberately flat, emotionless tone transformed the character into one of cinema's most chilling and memorable performances, proving that subtlety and calm detachment could evoke far more attention and unease than traditional emotional acting. Meanwhile, the human actors faced a different challenge. Number 10. The actors were given almost no direction. Kubrick provided actors with minimal emotional guidance, intentionally emphasizing human smallness and mechanical behavior in the vastness of space. This approach made performances deliberately detached and restrained, reinforcing the film's themes of isolation, existential vulnerability, and the overwhelming impersonal scale of the universe, creating a chilling, realistic, and thought-provoking cinematic experience. If you're enjoying this deep dive into one of the most meticulously crafted films ever made, stick around, because the final secrets reveal just how close 2001 came to being misunderstood forever. The risks only got bigger from here. Number 11. Early test screenings went terribly. Many viewers left theaters confused, frustrated, or even bored, while critics were sharply divided in their opinions. Some dismissed the film as pretentious and overly abstract, while others hailed it as groundbreaking and visionary. In response to these reactions, Kubrick personally cut more than 19 minutes, tightening the pace and refining the film's impact. Even legends weren't immune to doubt. Number 12. Kubrick considered scrapping the ending entirely. The Stargate sequence was so surreal and abstract that Kubrick seriously considered removing the entirety from the film. Ultimately, he chose to embrace the ambiguity, refusing to compromise his artistic vision. This decision heightened the sequence's mystery and intensity, leaving audiences mesmerized, challenged, and endlessly debating its meaning for decades afterwards. That decision paid off, but only later. Number 13. The film underperformed with older audiences. Ironically, the film found its most enthusiastic audience among younger viewers, particularly members of the late 1960s counterculture. These audiences embraced its experimental visuals, philosophical themes, and abstract storytelling, helping the film gain a dedicated following. Over time, their support transformed it from a controversial release into a celebrated, enduring cinematic classic. But success didn't come without rumors. Number 14. Kubrick was falsely accused of faking the moon landing. Because 2001's visuals were so astonishingly realistic, some conspiracy theorists later claimed that Kubrick had secretly helped stage the Apollo moon landings. Although there is absolutely no evidence to support this idea, the claim has persisted in popular culture, demonstrating the film's enduring influence on both imagination and public perception of space exploration. The rumor gained traction largely because the film premiered just 1 year before the first real lunar landing, at a time when public trust in government institutions was already beginning to fracture. To some, the technical realism of 2001 seemed almost too convincing, leading them to believe no other explanation was possible. In a strange way, the conspiracy isn't a criticism of the film's realism, it's a testament to it. Back to Earth, the production was anything but smooth. Number 15. The film took nearly 4 years to make. Development, effect, and post-production dragged on far longer than expected. Kubrick's perfectionism caused constant delays and ballooning costs. Rather than following a traditional production schedule, Stanley Kubrick repeatedly reworked sets, effects, and entire sequences whenever he believed they could be improved. What began as a standard studio project slowly became an endurance test, stretching the film's timeline to nearly 4 years, an extraordinary commitment for a science fiction film in the 1960s. In the end, the patience helped create a film that felt not just ahead of its time, but timeless. Yet, some risks were invisible to audiences. Number 16. The opening Dawn of Man sequence used actors in costumes. The apes were neither CGI nor animatronics. Instead, they were actors wearing meticulously crafted, highly detailed suits. Every movement was carefully choreographed to convey primitive behavior convincingly, creating creatures that felt both realistic and expressive, a groundbreaking achievement in practical effects that set a new standard for portraying non-human characters on film. That commitment to realism wasn't limited to how the film looked, it also shaped how the story itself began. Number 17. The studio wanted the film to start in space. MGM worried that the prehistoric opening sequence might alienate or bore audiences. Kubrick, however, insisted on keeping it, arguing that the depiction of evolution was essential, forming the very foundation and thematic core of the entire film. That gamble nearly cost the film its momentum at the time, but history would judge it very differently. Number 18. The film won only 1 Oscar. Despite its groundbreaking influence on cinema, 2001 won only a single Academy Award for Best Visual Effects. Kubrick personally accepted the honor, marking the recognition of his revolutionary technical achievements amid the film's broader critical and cultural impact. But its legacy would dwarf any award. Number 19. Almost every major sci-fi director has cited it. Directors like Spielberg, Nolan, Ridley Scott, and George Lucas all cite 2001 as a foundational influence. The film established the visual language, pacing, and narrative conventions that define modern science fiction cinema, shaping how stories about space, technology, and humanity are told for generations. And when you trace that influence forward, it doesn't just appear in individual scenes or techniques, it reshapes entire genres. Number 20. Without 2001, modern science fiction would look completely different. From its deliberate pacing to groundbreaking sound design and profound philosophical ambition, 2001 completely rewired the science fiction genre. It demonstrated that sci-fi didn't require concrete answers, only bold, thought-provoking ideas, capable of haunting and inspiring audiences for decades. The film established a visual and tonal language that future filmmakers would build upon for generations. Realistic space travel, minimal dialogue, and an emphasis on mood over exposition. Its influence can be felt not just in individual scenes or techniques, but in the very expectations audiences now have for science fiction, visible in films like Star Wars, Alien, Blade Runner, Interstellar, and Arrival, all of which inherit Kubrick's emphasis on atmosphere, realism, and ideas over explanation. 2001: A Space Odyssey wasn't just a movie. It was a gamble that almost failed, challenged audiences, and redefined cinema forever. And if you want to see what happens when another director risks everything to push technology and storytelling to the edge, check out our video on Terminator 2: Judgment Day, 1991. 20 shocking facts you didn't know. The sequence was almost collapsed under its ambition and ended up changing action movies forever. Like, subscribe, and tell me which film deserves the next deep dive into its hidden chaos. See you next time!